Picture this. You're running your entire business for 48 hours straight. You are completely away from your desk. You have absolutely no laptop.
Right.
You're running the whole show from a single, simple Telegram link. And the best part, there's absolutely zero panic, beat. For most people, that sounds like pure science fiction.
It really does. But it is actually the defining metric of a 2026 founder.
Yeah.
It's the new baseline.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We're exploring a pretty fascinating framework today, designed by Max Ann, on exactly how to build an AI operating system.
Yeah, an AIOS.
Right, an AIS. And we're going to unpack how to escape something called the bandwidth trap, why standard AI chatbots are essentially failing you,
Yeah.
and the 5 specific layers to actually build this out.
Using Claude Code specifically.
Exactly. And we'll also look at why small businesses have a massive structural advantage right now.
Daily.
But I do have to make a vulnerable admission right up front. Yeah, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself, starting from scratch every time I open a new chat window. It's exhausting. It just drains your mental energy completely.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely not alone in that feeling.
Right.
That fatigue. It's a symptom of a much larger systemic problem in how we currently interact with AI.
Yeah. And we really need to understand the root of that problem first, from a sort of first principles perspective. We have to look at the trap most founders are currently stuck in.
The bandwidth trap.
Right, the bandwidth trap. It's a crucial concept. Most founders, they spend roughly 80% of their day working in the business.
Exactly. They're just in the trenches.
Yeah, handling routine maintenance, answering endless emails, doing basic admin, just putting out daily fires.
Right.
And they only spend about 20% of their time working on it, focusing on high-level growth, designing new products.
And that ratio is completely backward. I mean, it creates a state of mere survival where you're
just treading water.
Exactly. You're just treading water. An AI operating system is designed to flip this ratio entirely. It's a fundamental structural shift. The target goal is 15 to 20% maintenance.
Wow.
Right, leaving an incredible 80 to 85% of your week for pure growth.
The source material gives a staggering example of this in action. There was one entrepreneur who used this framework to aggressively reclaim his routine maintenance hours. And he used that newly freed time to execute a massive product launch, generating over 1 million New Zealand dollars in a single week.
That's just incredible.
It really is. And the key takeaway there is that he didn't work longer hours. He simply changed the fundamental nature of his hours.
That is the ultimate power of leverage. He completely escaped the trap. But, we have to contrast this success with standard ChatGPT usage.
Right, because most people are just using standard AI right now.
Yeah. And standard AI is completely stateless.
Let's pause and clarify that term for the listener. What exactly does stateless mean in this context?
It forgets everything you said when you close the chat window.
Right. Using standard AI is like hiring a temporary contractor every single day and having to re-explain your entire business to them from scratch.
Every single morning.
Yeah. You explain the brand voice, the target audience. It's incredibly inefficient.
It is the absolute definition of inefficiency. You're constantly teaching the machine, You're never just executing with the machine. Beat. The AIOS removed that reset button entirely.
Which makes me wonder about the broader landscape here. Why do founders keep settling for this daily reset?
Because building persistent context used to require a massive engineering team.
Right, so the tech finally caught up to the operational need.
Precisely. We now have tools that bridge that gap effortlessly.
That brings us to the actual engine of this system. Since standard AI resets every time, we clearly need a new engine.
A persistent one.
Exactly, one that actually remembers the core DNA of your business. Which brings us to the specific tool making this entire system possible.
Right, and that engine is Claude Code, or, the Claude Desktop app for non-technical users.
Yeah.
It's a completely different paradigm from what most people are used to.
I want to clarify something highly important for the listener here, though. The name Claude Code sounds highly technical, but it's not just for developers, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, you do not need to be a senior software engineer to use this. Think of it as a persistent, localized environment.
Okay.
It lives directly inside a dedicated workspace on your own computer. It's not just a tab in your web browser.
Right.
It has persistent memory. It interacts directly with your local files and folders. And it connects natively to your core data integrations.
So it's pulling live revenue data from Stripe, reading dynamic Google Sheets.
Yeah, exactly. It even monitors your daily intelligence feeds, like reading your Slack channels or your meeting transcripts.
The capabilities outlined here are quite staggering. I mean, it can search the live web on your behalf, deploy full software projects, connect directly to external APIs.
And it seamlessly runs cron jobs.
Yes, the automation piece. Let's define that technical term for a moment, too. What are cron jobs?
Tasks that run automatically on a specific recurring schedule.
So instead of a human remembering to, pull a weekly report every Friday at 5 p.m., the system just does it in the background. It's like a silent courier.
Exactly. It operates entirely without human prompting. That's the real magic.
But placing this much power on a local machine raises an interesting question. Does giving an AI local access feel like a security risk to most?
It requires trust. But keeping data localized actually provides more control than web-based chats.
Yeah, keeping it local gives you boundaries that public clouds don't.
Exactly. You heard the actual keys to your own contextual kingdom. 2-sec silence.
So we have the engine now. We understand what Claude Code is.
Mm-hmm.
The next logical question is, how do we actually build this system? The source strongly stresses doing this in deliberate layers.
Like layers, not leaps.
Yeah, you do not make giant leaps.
Leaps cause fragile systems to break. Layers build a highly solid, resilient foundation.
Let's look closely at layer 1 then. This is called the context OS.
Great.
This is where you feed the AI the core DNA of your business. You give it your distinct brand voice, outline your specific quarterly strategy, detail your exact team structure.
The client personas, too.
Right, the ideal client personas. And once this is done properly, the AI never asks who you are again.
It becomes a true partner. It finally understands your worldview.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move logically to layer 2.
The data OS.
Exactly, the data OS.
Yeah.
This is where you start connecting your live, pulsing data sources.
Yeah.
You connect Stripe for real-time revenue tracking. You link Google Sheets for your dynamic daily KPIs. You plug in Bitly for live traffic data.
It's like stacking Lego blocks of data. You build a strong, stable foundation before adding the really complex moving parts.
That is a perfect analogy. You firmly lock those structural pieces into place first. And once the data is flowing, we reach layer 3.
Which is the intelligence layer.
Right. This is where we bring in the actual human side of your business.
Yeah.
It indexes transcripts from AI meeting tools like Fireflies.ai. It ingests your daily, messy Slack logs.
So now you can finally ask the AI highly complex, nuanced questions. Like, you can casually ask, what were the key decisions from last week's product meeting?
And it just knows the answer because it read the transcript.
But looking at all this massive input, a thought occurs to me. Can't layering all this data overwhelm the AI's reasoning?
Not if it's structured properly. The AI filters noise to find the actual signals.
Mm-hmm. Structure is the filter that turns raw data into actual insight.
Right. Without that rigorous structure, you just have a messy digital filing cabinet.
Yeah.
With it, you finally have an active thinking beat.
We have all this rich data flowing in now. We have context, we have numbers, we have human transcripts.
Yeah.
What is the actual tangible output? I mean, how does this practically free up a busy founder's time on a random Tuesday morning?
Well, this brings us to the absolute magic of the intelligence layer. It actively produces something called the daily brief.
Okay.
Every single morning, delivered quietly via Telegram, you get a 24-hour highlight reel.
Wow.
You get an AI-generated visual dashboard of your marketing funnels, and you receive a 5 to 10-page deep dive PDF report summarizing everything important that happened while you slept.
Whoa. Imagine waking up to a fully synthesized cross-department PDF analysis before you even open your laptop.
It completely changes your entire morning routine. It lowers your cortisol. You're no longer frantically searching for status updates across 10 different apps.
The updates simply find you?
Exactly.
That leads us directly into layer 4. This is where we finally automate the action. It starts with something called a comprehensive task audit.
Right, the task audit.
You literally list 100% of your daily and weekly tasks. You tag them carefully based on complexity, and then you use Claude Code's simple/explore command.
Yeah, explore.
It actively helps you build plain English automations. You just describe what you want, and it writes the code to connect the apps.
And the source text gives a truly brilliant, real-world example of this. A founder audited 83 individual tasks.
Mm-hmm.
They heavily augmented 54 of those tasks.
That's what, roughly 60 to 70% of their entire workload?
Exactly. And they achieved this in just 30 days.
Which naturally brings us to layer 5. This is the build phase.
The ultimate existential choice.
Right. It's a choice for a founder. You use your newly reclaimed bandwidth to build new growth engines, or, you just actually live your life and go to the beach. You finally have a genuine choice.
Yeah.
But looking at that timeline, I have to ask, is it really realistic to automate 70% of a business in just a month?
Yes, because most tasks are highly repetitive administrative loops, not creative leaps.
Right, and we massively underestimate how repetitive our daily grind actually is.
We truly do. I mean, we constantly confuse frantic motion with actual progress. Sponsor?
Okay, let's assume you've successfully reclaimed all this time, you've automated these tedious workflows, the business is running smoother. How do you make sure your new automated workflows don't degrade over time? Because systems tend toward entropy. You have to document them, you have to measure them rigorously.
Exactly. You need a robust system to capture that operational knowledge permanently.
The source material calls this the skills system.
Right.
You create highly documented workflows. So, for example, you document exactly how to create a specific YouTube thumbnail in your brand style, or exactly how to properly onboard a new high-ticket client.
And Claude follows these specific skill files perfectly every single time.
Right.
The compounding organizational value here is immense. I mean, imagine this scenario. One team member refines a clunky workflow. They figure out a better way.
Okay.
They save it as a new skill file. Suddenly, the entire team instantly inherits that incredible efficiency.
Wow.
You share the breakthrough immediately across the whole company.
It effectively scales your best practices automatically. But we need to logically verify that it's actually working. We can't just guess.
No, you definitely can't guess.
The source outlines 3 absolutely crucial KPIs to track. The first KPI is away-from-desk autonomy. This is that 48-hour Telegram test we mentioned right at the start of the deep dive.
You deliberately step away from the keyboard. You watch closely to see what breaks.
And whatever breaks during that window is your next obvious automation target.
Exactly. It's a stress test for your systems. The second KPI is the task automation percentage. You want to aggressively hit that 60 to 70% mark within 30 days.
You really have to track that number obsessively to maintain momentum.
You do. And the third KPI is arguably the most fascinating one discussed. Revenue per employee.
Yeah. The source boldly calls this the defining metric of the AI era.
Yeah, it really is the ultimate scoreboard. I mean, truly, AI-native teams are actively pushing revenue above $1 million per employee.
Wow.
You have to look at your whole system honestly. If top-line revenue isn't going up or your total headcount isn't going down, the system lacks true operational leverage. You're just playing with new, expensive digital toys.
But looking at that aggressive financial metric, does focusing purely on revenue per employee risk burning out the human staff?
Ideally, it does the opposite by removing the tedious grunt work they hated anyway.
Yeah, it eliminates the drudgery so humans can do the high-value creative work.
Right. And that is where human capital truly shines, in deep strategy, not in mindless data entry. 2 sec silence.
Hearing about a multi-layered AI operating system sounds, well, incredibly daunting on the surface.
Oh, for sure.
It sounds like something only a massive Fortune 500 company could ever afford to build or maintain. But the text argues the exact opposite reality.
It does. Large, entrenched companies actually fail at this consistently. It's a known pattern.
Why is that exactly? I mean, they have massive budgets.
It's the heavy burden of corporate inertia. They have massive legacy ERP systems tying them down.
Yeah.
They have endless, agonizing procurement cycles.
The red tape.
Exactly. Overly strict compliance departments, brutal internal politics.
Mm-hmm.
It takes them years just to implement a basic, simple software change.
Right.
By the time they approve an AI tool, the entire landscape has already shifted.
Let's heavily contrast this with small businesses then. Small, agile teams have practically no structural constraints.
None.
You can swap out digital tools in a matter of days. You can connect new APIs without waiting weeks for IT department approval.
Yeah.
You can literally build a custom AIOS in a single week if you really focus.
Speed and remarkably low bureaucracy are the ultimate structural advantages right now. Small teams can rapidly wrap AI capability tightly around their core business engine. They can execute this faster than giant corporations can even organize a board meeting to discuss the concept.
That makes me wonder about the long-term landscape, though. Will large corporations eventually catch up, neutralizing this advantage?
Eventually, yes, which is exactly why the window of opportunity for small businesses is right now.
Exactly. The agility advantage is temporary, so the time to build is today.
You have to aggressively seize the open window before the sleeping giants pivot.
We have covered a truly massive amount of ground today. Let's briefly reflect on the main overarching takeaway from the source material.
Yeah, let's zoom out.
The primary goal of AI is not simply to help you write faster emails. Thinking that way is just missing the forest for the trees entirely.
Completely.
It is a fundamental structural shift in the architecture of your work life. You're permanently flipping the value of your time. You are deliberately moving from 80% mundane maintenance to 80% creative growth.
It completely changes the very definition of what it means to run a business in this decade.
So look closely at your own calendar this week. I want you to actively identify just one recurring task. Find the one specific task that is quietly, consistently eating your mental bandwidth.
Just one.
Look at it closely and ask yourself a very simple question. Could a well-documented skill file and a simple cron job do this better?
And, well, the honest answer is almost always yes.
I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over. If you successfully execute this framework, if you reclaim 70% of your time tomorrow, are you truly prepared for the profound quiet that follows? And do you actually know what you want to build next? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We will see you next time. ODTRO Music.